Thank you very much, Jakob. There are some traits I even didn't know about myself, so thank you for that. Dear ladies and gentlemen, dear friends of the PCF World Forum, I also want to invite you to the 5th PCF World Summit here in Zurich. I'm very happy to be here for the first time outside of Berlin, actually, with this bigger summit. And I'm very much looking forward to the next 2 days. And I don't want to take too much time actually talking about the issue that is in the title of my presentation, credibility in carbon footprinting, because the next 2 days will highlight this, I assume and I hope, in a lot of different ways, much better than I can. And I think through the different perspectives we gain on the topic, we together will gain a better understanding of, well, also some of the challenges that we may face now in turning carbon footprint information and standards actually into concrete actions. And I want to remind all of us, and my previous speakers have also done that, we have a challenge out there that is very clear in what we have to do and achieve to limit the extent of global warming or climate change to, well, somehow manageable degree as far as we can estimate. And this gives quite clear indications also on the amount of greenhouse gas emissions that we can actually emit globally over the next years. And this is therefore a very concrete, measurable item in our discussion. And this is also the main reason why we talk about carbon footprinting. It is an instrument for us to actually manage the challenge that we have in climate change. And we should always, or should never forget, that this is what we aim to use the instrument for, to make it into a very specific instrument that helps us to manage this challenge. And we very much talk about life cycle assessments here, or the life cycle perspective, looking at products and also the business perspective. But of course, the climate change challenge is much larger. We, as society as a whole, also in different areas of society, have to get a handle on climate change in our respective decision making and also in our collaboration. And this is also important that when we talk about carbon footprinting from a life cycle perspective, this is only one piece of a puzzle which must fit into a larger picture of managing climate change through carbon emission accounting and also environmental accounting, of course, because we don't want to go into a world of large trade-offs when we actually address climate change. So as we have it on different levels, it is actually about jointly managing the challenge and to jointly take decisions on moving forward. So the information component of carbon footprinting is quite a crucial one, because it is the instrument also that we use to talk about what decisions we can take and the decisions we want to take and actually then also decide upon. We have developed a substantial understanding of risks around climate change and also the emission reductions required. We have general methods for quantifying and reporting greenhouse gas emissions associated with systems and activities available, and particularly also now with products, the standards, the Greenhouse Gas Protocol that we will hear later on about, and also the ISO standard, they are close to completion. So this will be a good basis to then take further to actually employ that. And we heard about biofuels and so on. These standards are part of the answer to address these challenges, that we have a common understanding what are actually emissions of a system or a product that we look at, so that we don't forget important factors in the calculation. And carbon footprinting is increasingly used in a collaborative manner. And I put it very broadly here, but also, of course, particularly in communicating to stakeholders, customers, business partners, and the like. And therefore, it is important to more closely look at the kind of information that we exchange with each other and the underlying credibility of that information. Why is that important, that we we together have a good understanding that what we talk about has a good basis, a robust basis. In managing and discussing climate change solutions, we need to have trust in the suggestions that are out there and the claims also that are made. This contributes to climate change or to emission reductions and to mitigating climate change or not, or in that far if we also take into account other factors. And having this robust information, and carbon footprinting is a very important piece of that. It is very important to have trust together, to actually take these decisions together. Otherwise, the decisions become much more difficult. So credibility is also important to facilitate information exchange in the supply chain, but also with others, so that when I am a user of such information, that I also can trust, okay, I can integrate this into my own thinking, my own decisions, my own models, whatever, and don't have to re-ask or reassess again and again, because this creates a lot of extra efforts, as many of us know, of course. So to facilitate this, credibility in the underlying data and models and also agreements that are applied is very important. And last but not least, of course, credibility is very important also to encourage others to take action. If you yourself are acting on climate change, only if you can do it in a substantial, robust, and qualified manner that others can actually understand and follow, then it is also possible to get them onto the journey and also encourage them to take action themselves. So we have credibility on different levels, in standards, in the footprint calculations themselves, in assurance of this kind of information, of the underlying data, secondary data, but also primary data, of course. Data exchange, we have different programs out there. We have trade-offs that we may have to take into account, and that is also important to deal with. And these different levels we will explore over the next 2 days, and from different perspectives in different presentations. So I don't want to go into any more detail with that, but invite you to always reflect on the big picture when actually employing the instrument of carbon footprinting. And to come to the end, I say what I always say. I also said it yesterday in the PCR roundtable, that I really want to encourage you to use this forum to engage with each other, to talk with each other, and to not talk about each other as we often do when we say, okay, well, this happens there, I don't really know what they're up to, and so, well, let's do it differently, start another initiative, and so on. This forum is meant to get ourselves together, talk together, better understand the motivation behind our respective activities, because that is very important to collaborate on mitigating climate change and actually the overall challenge of a sustainable planet. So a couple of principles I give you, and this is my last slide on that way for the discussions. Please employ mutual respect and interest when we discuss the questions at hand. We have a lot of presentations, so I hope we have a lot of room also for questions. I must say, I mean, I put the program together, but I myself say, okay, well, we have a lot of speakers here over the next 2 days, and I hope together we will manage anyhow to gain the kind of information and discussion, have the kind of discussions that are actually valuable for all of us to move forward, with a willingness to learn from each other, and well, always in a spirit of a constructive, forward-looking dialogue to make real climate mitigation happening. Thank you very much.